On this week's Garage Talk, NASCAR released the schedule with a few surprises.
We had a busy week in our leagues on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with some chaos mixed in.
And we're going to put on our pretend freelance unlicensed lawyer hats and we're going to take a look at the latest in the 2311 NASCAR lawsuit right now. All right, welcome to an all new FR Racing's Garage Talk. I'm DJ Flook.
I'm Eric Richardson.
A lot to talk about this week. We'll get right into it. We're still on our time limits here. So we got NASCAR with a court filing in the 2311 case, distracting with the 2026 schedule, and a shocking note on the Truck Series. Uh, I didn't see that coming. The Truck Series is going to St. Petersburg and sharing a weekend with
Yeah,
IndyCar. That was caught a lot of people off guard.
maybe that's a segue that maybe they can have more doubleheader weekends again or start sharing some tracks.
I mean, is it the end of the world? It's like, yeah, it's like, okay, NASCAR IndyCar has made it clear they don't want to be second fiddle to the Cup Series. But if the Truck Series or the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, which was also announced this week, next year, which was the Xfinity Series, is second fiddle to IndyCar, do you think NASCAR is going to mind being second fiddle on one of their lower tier series to IndyCar? I mean, that might be the way to go.
It may need definitely take and start transitioning some of the fans or get the fan base involved on both series.
If
It'll be fun to
you
see how it goes.
If you look at the stands on an average truck race or an average Xfinity race, it's pretty bare, and it always has been, minus like your Daytonas, your championship weekends, um, select other race, Coca-Cola 600 weekend, select other All-Star race. The the stands are pretty bare, but it's like if you can, if you get people who are out there for the Xfinity series going, and then you've got IndyCar there as well, and you got that crossover. It's like, is that actually might be a really good thing for both, and boosting the attendance for those lower tier series, but also for IndyCar as well for exposure.
Yeah, and IndyCar races are fairly short, and especially trucks, they run a much quicker race, except for all the caution flags
Yeah,
that tend to come
they've
out. But,
better. They've been better recently, I've noticed. I think.
but no, it's gonna be fun to see. When we saw that announcement, a couple of the other guys that live down here in the area are like, St. Pete, trucks in
Really?
Indy. With
Yeah.
Tyler and Lucas being down in the area too. It's like, oh, this could be an even more fun weekend now.
I mean, you had like it wasn't just IndyCar. Like I think MX5 Cup was down there as well, and I think a few other of those type of series were would race that weekend. So I mean, it was already a fairly full schedule, but I mean, having a truck series up there and having NASCAR's presence there, it can't hurt. I mean, they might
I
destroy the
only see it
track.
only helping.
The trucks literally might destroy the track, but it can't hurt.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see how the schedule fully plays out for the race weekend.
Oh, yep. So Cup Series schedules out. Not a lot of
How about
major.
Watkins Glen in early May?
Yeah, and a direct quote from someone who lives that up that way. It might be 50 degrees and raining. Huh, could be fun.
And we got North Wilkesboro as a points race
Mhm.
now, but
Dover
kind
is
of the
the
big takeaway, Dover is basically off the schedule,
It's an all-star race.
except for the All-Star race.
I don't Nobody can seem to answer why.
I feel like NASCAR is just tone deaf and does not
It
understand what
it
is actually happening.
it's almost like you're putting, that the thing where you take something apart to fix it, and you're putting it back together, and now you have spare parts after you put it back together, and you're like, what is this? Where does this screw go? And it's just like, let's just find a spot for it. Let's just wedge this in here somewhere. And I feel like that's how like Dover came to be the All-Star race, because I've yet to see anything official of why was Dover moved to the All-Star race. And I
It's
don't know.
funny. I've seen a lot of comments like make Rockingham the All-Star race.
I think
And I've
that
been saying that for a couple of years now.
is Rockingham too small of a facility now? I mean, I North Wilkesboro is obviously smaller, but like Rockingham, from when they were racing Cup to now, I think cut the capacity of the place by like half. I want to say I saw like 35,000 is now the capacity of that place. And I want to say it was like 65,000 before that. I mean, I could be completely making this up, which wouldn't be the first time I've done that.
You know, I would look past that and we need to find good on track products.
You know,
I
it's
know you want to
funny.
fill the seats, but there's so many just bland races that if it could be a great race, people are watching on TV and it's like, ooh, we need to go watch the next time they come close.
Yeah. The so the funny thing, Carson Hocevar put up a video a while back that I saw recently of how last year he was the one who leaked that NASCAR was returning back to Rockingham. And he goes, I'm being completely honest with you. I just someone asked me if I heard any rumors of schedule changes, and I just pulled that out of he goes, I just made it up. I didn't know. Like I goes, I seriously I didn't know. And he goes, so I said that on the stream, and they play the clip of him saying, "Yeah, besides Rockingham's coming back." He goes, so I go into the shop the next day, and he goes, NASCAR calls me. He's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And
I
he's like,
went.
and he goes, "But the problem with my statement and my claim is that the owner of Rockingham is the owner of Spire Motorsports, who he drives." So it looks like he leaked it out. He's like, I swear. But he goes, oh, but the problem is all my plausible deniability is gone.
And also Chicagoland. It's back.
Yes, Chicagoland is back. I mean, again, we knew this, but Carson Hocevar leaked that. But I think this time he was purposely told to leak.
Now
Because
that would be a doubleheader weekend.
what,
IndyCar and NASCAR at
that
Chicagoland.
would be great. But why else would Carson Hocevar be walking around the abandoned Chicagoland Speedway?
If
Uh,
something's not coming up.
yes. And yeah, well, San Diego's in. We knew known that for a couple weeks. The other thing I want to highlight on the schedule is because Homestead is now the championship race and Phoenix is not, they have moved Phoenix to like the middle of October. And for those of you that do not live in Phoenix and do not come out here, you would think moving a race from like November 2nd ish to October 17th, 18th wouldn't be that big of a deal. But it's mid-October. Like there's like a switch in Phoenix and like right around Halloween where all of a sudden it goes from like borderline miserable to, what we enjoy here in the winter. And I looked at the average temperatures over the last several years around those dates, and it's like 95, 96, 94. Like you're going to have like that's got to be a night race. Otherwise, you're going to have people sitting out in the stands. It's 95. I can only imagine what the on-track temperature is going to be. Um,
I believe in the race that we went to in what, 2016 in November. That was
it
hot.
it was pretty warm that day. I mean, it was upper 80s, but last year the championship weekend was delayed because of the Olympics, and it was like November 8th or 9th, and I had a jacket on when I was there. Like, it was not, it wasn't cold, but it was still like I'm wearing a light jacket to go to the racetrack. I will not be wearing a light jacket in October 17th now.
No.
Probably borderline dying sitting in the stands, but hey, at least the on track product's great OH.
Kind of.
Could be interesting. You got a 140-degree on-track temperature. Hope those cool suits don't fail on you. Um, yeah, so IndyCar coming up this weekend. They've been off. Milwaukee coming up. I'll be interesting. They're having a special highline practice for Milwaukee this weekend. Uh, after Saturday evening, I believe, and they really need it. They
When they've done them in the past, especially with Texas,
made a
it
huge
really
difference.
helped.
It made a huge difference. Um, but yeah, it's like on the restarts, first 5 laps or so were great, but those longer runs, it was just parade, snooze fest, and it's just like they
Yep.
need to do something. So hopefully this will fix it. But
And speaking of IndyCar at Milwaukee, we actually just visited with Indy
we
Racing World
we
Series.
did, and that was pretty intense. We had a
We did not
intense.
spread out like I thought we would.
No, we didn't. We had a very intense schedule, and unfortunately, I had to cancel the live stream for Friday night. We're still gonna host a, if there's enough interest, we'll host a GT race, but unfortunately, I'm not gonna be around to broadcast it. Uh, but yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I did all 3 races this week, and that was it went much better than I thought it would. But yeah, I mean, we'll start. We got there. Indy Racing World Series. You had a pretty good
Yeah, I was running
showing.
solid there in the first half until trying to leave pit
Well,
road on cold tires.
yeah, you had that moment. I was actually pitting under green, and I was actually having a pretty decent pit stop, and I was on my way out, and the caution came out. I'm like, well, all right. Got my lap back on the wave around, and no harm, no foul. But that was
Yeah, I was a lap down for what, all of like 12 laps, and then another caution came out, and it was hard to pass.
it
So
was.
that's where hopefully watching the Highline practice, we'll
It's
see that difference because it is tough to pass there.
Yeah, you have to you can't just cleanly pass. Like you have to force the person in front of you to make a mistake. That was
Very much so.
that was my takeaway from that week. Uh,
And if you can really get onto your settings and adjustments, you can do that to help, but you can't keep that setting for too long.
no, I think that was the most I've played with my weight jacker and roll bars. I think ever in a race. And again, it was one of those things where it just like I was doing okay. And then towards the end, like I finally figured it out. I'm like, oh, here we go. And my times actually got better as the run went on. And it's fortunately I was like 20 seconds, but I was almost getting lapped by the end because of the long run. But it's like, man, if I could
Yeah,
have
and
figured that out 30 laps sooner, that would have been different.
we'll see if the IndyCar race runs the same way, but you felt it too. The aero wash off of these cars, depending on the line that the car in front of you takes, can just completely shove you off to the outside.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think I
no,
actually did it to you
you
once,
did. I
but
was
that was a result of the line I was running, not like, oh, I'm gonna wash it so somebody can't pass me.
overall, and Tyler Vickery made his return to the series, and
Puts it in
he
victory circle.
he jumped in, yeah. When he jumped in, saw him connecting. The kind of the collective was like, "Uh-oh, we're in trouble
You
now."
just hear the collective, ah.
And then he goes wins by 4 seconds. So like, yeah, that's about right.
But overall, it's a fun, solid race.
At Texas next week.
Yeah, that
So
one will
that's
be interesting.
Texas has been a lot of fun when we've been there with the
And
the
we've
Indy
we're
cars.
what, daytime last time?
Yeah,
We're going under lights this one.
yeah, that's I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that.
Should be a little bit more grip and pretty exciting. And
We
opportunities to pass there.
On the but for Texas, we actually bottom split on Monday night, went to Texas, and
You did.
I don't know why. I looked it up. This was my third podium in a series at Texas. And I finished third all three of those times, and I'm just like, what is it about me in Texas where I just
Some.
find myself in a good spot there. And although like this there's got to be a little bit of an asterisk. I'm going to post this video later. I haven't had a chance to go back and grab it yet, but I had an qualifying run as I typically do, and I'm kind of hanging in the back letting the field play out, and just a massive wreck out of turn 4 on like lap 2. And I'm just thinking, ah, crap, we're going to be done after 2 laps tonight. And all of a sudden I see a car bounce. I try to go as low as I can. There's traffic everywhere. Car bounces off the wall, spins down, and the front of the car, which is like almost completely destroyed, just kind of like 90-degree head on into it. And I'm like, and I keep on going. Like, I feel the crash, but I keep on going. I get the 4X incident count for the collision, but I'm like, I'm not losing any speed here. Like, what the heck? And I'm like, that was a pretty hard hit, and I have no damage. And I kept on going, and I was still at pace. And I look after the race, and this may be like the first time ever that net code worked in my favor. I have a
It's always
collision, but
nice
I,
when it helps you.
I, I get a collision, I get a 4X, but I had like no damage whatsoever and kept on going and moved into fourth. There was a late wreck. Jax and Chris were battling for the win, and got Jax wrecked. And then I just cruised in last 20, 15 laps, 10, 15 laps. I'm in the safely 10 seconds ahead of fourth place. It just cruised to a podium. I'm like, you know what? Whatever.
Take it.
So then I go for my interview and then find out that my Discord during the sound card changed my driver and my microphone wasn't working in Discord. So I didn't get interviewed. I'm like, I
Oh
finally get a
man.
podium interview, and then I don't even get to get an interview because my mic wasn't working. Um, but whatever. But then Wednesday comes.
Yeah, Wednesday night. That was a thing.
It worked out much better than I thought it would. It was a long
Xfinity
race.
cars at Gateway.
That is a
For what, 75 laps? That was a very long race.
it was probably our longest race ever in that series. Um, that is a tough track. That is a very tough track.
Then again, we were 7 cautions for 22 laps.
Yeah, yeah, and so
I
my
brought out the
racing,
first one.
yeah, you did.
I cooked turn 3 a little too much.
we didn't finish lap 1 for you. Decided to start
Yeah, I
the.
got in too hot.
I just look in my mirror and I see the neon green and black car turning turning sideways behind me. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, I apologize to the field for losing talent.
But yeah,
What little I do have.
seven cautions for 22 laps, five lead changes. Do you know our strength of field last night was 1605?
Yeah, it's still higher than that if you
Uh,
take on the strength of the drivers.
yeah, and I had a collision that did not bring out a caution, and I was getting water temperature warnings and caution. I was able to come in and take my fast repair, and uh, we ended under overtime.
You did.
And so right before the caution, I was running 13th. And with the caution, people went in, took tires. I slid up to 10th. And I made 2 passes in overtime and finished 8th, just right behind you. And another lap, I might have caught you, but yeah,
Yeah, we had another lap or two. I would have been pressuring there the top five. Like everybody's running pretty close.
yeah, it was that turn 1. is really tricky. And it's
It's
just
really funny in practice. I was better at turn one and two, and I was really bad in three and four. And then as the race went along, I got worse in one and two, but then three and four is where I was making some moves at.
I had plenty of moments in one and two where I was lucky there was nobody around me when I entered. Yeah, just finding that right spot to brake where you're not braking too early. Yeah, there were a few moments where I would, especially after a restart, and I would, or we're still packed together in the first couple of laps, and I would break into turn one, and I'd be looking at my mirror at the car behind me, and I'm just like, please don't run into me, please don't run
Oh
into
yeah,
me.
that turn one after restarts, that was hold on tight.
There was a big incident in turn one where Eric Mattingly was turned, and he was taking a little more conservative entry into one, which I don't blame him for.
I know I was conservative as I saw cars checking up behind me.
There are a few moments where I plowed into the back of Lane's snow because he ended up braking late and hard checked up, and I just didn't have time to check up, and I just plowed into his backside and kept on going. But it was unfortunate, and but that happened a lot last night.
Yeah, there
Only
were a couple of times I know
one
cars were
driver,
diving. I dove away.
one driver got out with a 0x last night out of 19, 18, 19. But yeah, Brian McKinney, who finished fourth, walked out with zero. Jacob Barker was one. You were two. Then there are a handful of fours. I had
I
10.
I brushed the wall coming out of turn two a couple times, and that's what caught me.
I had I don't know during that big wreck with Mattingly, I see just the track just chaos on the track on turn one, and I just said screw it, and I just went right for the grass. Just got across, took my off track. I'm just like I am just going way clear of everybody else, and it did get a comment like that was a high IQ move right there. Just take the 1X, take the off track, and no damage. So, but yeah, I mean, overall, walking out of there P7, P8 last night, that's a really good result, I think.
No, even after the green white checker finish, two laps, 15th place was only 4.9 seconds back. And in seventh and eighth, we were 2.8 and 3.2. So everybody stayed nice and close there at the end.
Yeah, we the race itself went 1 hour and 3 minutes. we target we target 40 to 45 minutes for a race. So that was little long. Um yeah, overall I'm very very happy with how that went. I that could have gone so much worse. And you know what? Sometimes just you stay clean, you put yourself in a position, you get a late caution, good things happen or bad things happen. But
Yeah, there was a lot going on with like pitting and cars were staying out, cars were pitting. So there was a lot of movement within the field. If you look at the graph, you'll see cars going
yeah,
all over the place.
I pulled that up and I'm like, how did I end up eighth when I crossed the line? And it's again, I'll take it. Uh,
Yeah, I'm actually looking at that chart right now. It's
yeah, it's just it looks like
you
it
can
looks
see
like a
pit stops
stock.
because they
Yeah,
were all over.
yeah, it looks like the stock market, just all over the place. But take a moment here, shout out our partner Nixon Watches. Got my Nixon timekeeper this week. Having well, they had an anniversary sale and picked this bad boy up. So I mean I do carry, I do wear the Apple Watch, but like something in my brain clicked like somewhat recently where I'm just like I miss wearing regular watches, not and it's like I like being able to like track workouts and stuff like that. So it's like I'm looking for a kind of a plan B where I can wear regular watches. And I saw there's a company out there that makes like a little disc that like suctions to the bottom of your regular watch, and it does like the heart reading, and you can use it for like workout tracking. So it's like, why do you, put a smartwatch on your wrist where, and they show people with like Rolexes putting this on there. But the only complaint I see is it kind of lifts the watch up off your skin a little bit, which may not be too
Yep.
appealing, but it's like that might be something worth exploring down the road. But shout out to Nixon watches.
I think, well, one other big thing to kind of keep an eye on, NASCAR is trying to sell some charters.
Yeah, they are. Who
Right.
would
Well,
want them?
to getting ready for Daytona, we have to put them on the market by October 1.
They 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 are. Do you really think they actually have a charter that, like, do they really have a buyer for that, or are they just trying to bluff because they want this lawsuit to desperately go away?
I don't know.
I think it's a bluff. I mean,
You heard,
who would want to pay, like, what was the going rate for the last charters? Like 35, 40 mil or
yeah,
something like
35,
that?
40 range.
Like, who would want to pay for that? Like, you look at Hendrick, you look at Gibbs, you look at Penske, they're not making money on this.
Well, and those teams can't pick up charters anyway.
Yeah, but it's like they have charters. They've been in this system. They like they're not in it because it's a profitable venture. They're in it because, they love what they do and they're well established. You're telling me some venture capitalist is going to come in here and buy these charters? I don't think so. Like, there's no money in it. Like, you've got Jeff Gordon saying that Hendrick Motorsports hasn't turned a profit in like 10 years or something like that. Like, you really think some VC is going to come in there like, yeah, I want to buy this charter and start this? Unless it's some company that's using it as a straight up marketing wing, which is probably the only way that
Well,
it's
it's
your
funny, you
marketing
just had
budget.
what's his name? Steve O'Donnell come out and say, we don't even know what 2311 FRM are even asking for.
Do
What do you
we?
mean?
I think we made it. I think they made it pretty clear what they're asking for.
Like, we know what they're asking for.
I,
Like,
I
they're
just
so fed up with them that this is before they said that they wouldn't sell the charters until the end of the season,
my
which they were changing up rules. Like, everything you are doing is explaining why they are doing this.
I still like. I mean, Denny Hamlin, Denny the podcaster slash Denny the owner, has made it clear that, once they get to court and can, unveil all this to the world, they're going to show, like, I think it's going to look bad for NASCAR. They've been very secretive. They're very secretive with their books. They're very secretive with, attendance. They don't really announce attendance. Um, I think if you come in and see how much they're making through, the monopoly, or almost a monopoly on the tracks, all the TV money, all the cash they're hoarding. I think it's going to be a very, like, I think you're going to see a lot of upset people. Uh,
And that's what it is. Like, you are preventing anything, even these two teams. We're going to go out and start our own series. We're tired of the car. We're tired of all this.
I
We're going
starting
to
your
change
own
it up.
series, like starting your own series is tough. I mean, and look at SRXs, for
Yep.
example. You had good backing, you had a big name in the sport like Tony Stewart, and it flopped after what, 2 years, 1 year?
Couple.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, okay, short track, but it's like it's even more difficult too, because one, if you start a competing series, there's no chance you're going to end up on the tracks that NASCAR owns. One. And two, like, you're going to run into the same struggles as IndyCar, and you're going to have to start doing like streets of this, streets of that. And then all of a sudden you're going to become like a clone of supercars that, maybe runs on the motors, at Indy or Pocono.
And
Uh,
if that's part of the argument where you can't do anything, so you are stuck with what NASCAR is telling you.
so it's like, it further proves the monopoly that I just I think that's the thing that drives me nuts is I think there are good tracks that NASCAR owns that are preventing IndyCar from competing it.
Hmm.
Uh,
And if they're looking at it from that depth too, that even other series can't come in.
yeah, and it's a greed issue. I'm not afraid to say it. This from my outside view, this looks like a greed issue to me. And you've got the Jordan brand on one side fighting you, which is probably the only, one of the only brands that probably involved in the sport at least that has the power to take on the NASCAR empire. And it's been a struggle, but it's just yeah, it's very easy to play out. And I don't think anybody looks good in this process.
I want to know what happens if NASCAR does sell these, it goes to court, and ultimately 2311 front row win.
Now
What
you got
happens then?
then you've got the buyers suing NASCAR 2311. Yeah, like this is just this is a mess. Like this is a mess. And I think this is a cover up. And I think, this is just reeks of desperation.
And that's why you see the news about trying to sell the Chargers early, and then, hey, look,
Well,
here's our schedule.
the other thing with your comment earlier too, like we don't know what they want. And then but then in your filing, the NASCAR filing, it says Jordan wants a permanent charter instead of a till 2031 or whatever they are. And he's like he wants special rules for himself because he's Michael Jordan. Ugh. Yeah, that's how that came off. But anyway, I'm not a lawyer. This has not been legal advice. Please consult a lawyer.
So we got what? IndyCar setting up for Milwaukee,
That's correct.
then NASCAR is heading over to Daytona.
Yeah, we got an Xfinity slash Cup weekend, Friday, Saturday, and then Indy's got the Sunday all by themselves. So,
It's
uh,
funny, everybody's joking around. Cody Ware's going to win this weekend and steal a playoff
you know
spot.
what? He has almost won this race before, a few years back. Uh, was it Dylan who won or Stenhouse? I can't remember, but he was right there. Like I want to say he finished like top three in this race a few years ago. Like anybody can win this
He was
race.
there.
If anything, we learned last year, Harrison, like you've got Harrison Burton winning this race. Anybody can win this race.
Yeah, you get a first time winner and you could potentially knock out Tyler Reddick or Alex Bowman from the playoffs.
And then the Alex Bowman getting fired conversation picks back up yet again. But all right, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this week. And thanks as always for tuning in. We've got two races on the schedule next week with Tuesday night at Texas at 10 p.m. Eastern on Stadium Scene TV and Wednesday night from Daytona.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be fun.
This was a pure accident, but we strategically scheduled races around the in real life races, and I think we're getting a bump on YouTube because of it. So it's like, It's like we don't
We
want
might have to look at doing this in the future.
yeah, we don't want to exactly mimic the schedule because that's predictable and boring, and some of those races aren't great. But you
Now,
mix in
five
a
races for Indy. I've inadvertently scheduled two the same times as the real series,
yeah,
Laguna and Milwaukee.
yeah. But let's three races on a week that was tough. But hey,
Yeah.
I'm through it. We're done. My wife wasn't thrilled about it, but she's like, "You're gonna do Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday now?" Like, sorry.
And Friday.
Yeah, well, Fridays. Well, I won't be able to do Friday this week, but canceled Friday, fortunately. So, again, thanks for tuning in at F Racing Online, fracingonline.com. Sign up for our newsletter, get the insider, learn more about what's going on here, and thanks again for tuning in.
Take care.